The Man Who Eats Rats and Dogs. It started in the quiet town of Black Ridge, a small rural area in northern Pennsylvania, where nights were colder than usual and silence felt heavier than normal. People in Black Ridge loved their pets. Dogs ran freely in backyards, and stray cats wandered around barns and alleyways. But one winter, the animals started disappearing. At first, no one noticed. A missing stray dog here, a dead rat there, a cat that never came home. The police thought it was normal wildlife activity, maybe coyotes or foxes, but the truth was far worse. The smell behind the barn. Jacob Miller was a 34-year-old delivery driver who worked night shifts for a local grocery warehouse. Every night at exactly 2:40 a.m., he drove past an old abandoned farm on Willow Creek Road. The farm had been empty for years. Broken fences, collapsed roof, windows covered in dust. But one night, something changed. As Jacob slowed his truck near the farm, a strange smell filled the air. It was strong, rotten, burned, like meat left too long in the sun. Jacob covered his nose. Something died out here, he muttered. Then he saw movement near the barn, a figure, tall, thin, standing completely still in the darkness. Jacob's heart began to race. The man wasn't moving, not blinking, just staring. Then suddenly, the figure bent down and picked something off the ground. Jacob leaned closer to the windshield. The man lifted the object to his mouth and started chewing. Slowly, wet, crunching sounds echoed in the silent night. Jacob felt his stomach twist. The object looked small. Furry. A rat. The man was eating a rat. Raw. Jacob slammed his foot on the gas and drove away, his hands shaking. But he couldn't forget what he saw. Missed dogs. Over the next few weeks, the town became uneasy. Posters appeared on every street. A missing dog. Reward $500. A lost puppy. Please help. Sizing our pet, the disappearances kept increasing. First 3 dogs, then 5, then 12. No blood, no footprints, no signs of struggle, just empty collars and silence. The town sheriff officer Daniel Reeves held a meeting at the community center. Residents filled the room. Fear hung in the air. We believe a wild animal is responsible, Officer Reeves said. But Jacob raised his hand. I don't think it's an animal, he said quietly. The room fell silent. Officer Reeves frowned. What do you mean? Jacob hesitated. Then he told them everything. About the farm. About the smell. About the man eating a rat. People laughed nervously. Some shook their heads, but one woman didn't laugh. Her name was Emily Carter. Her golden retriever, Max, had disappeared 3 nights earlier, and she knew something was wrong. The next night, Emily and Jacob drove to the abandoned farm together. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds. Wind rattled the broken fence. Everything felt wrong. Jacob parked the truck. They stepped out slowly. Crunch. Their boots pressed against frozen dirt. The smell was back. Stronger than before, Emily covered her mouth. Oh God! They moved closer to the barn. Then they heard something. Chewing. Slow. Wet. Crunching. Emily froze. Jacob whispered, Did you hear that? The sound came from inside the barn. They walked toward the door. It was slightly open. A thin beam of light flickered inside. Jacob pushed the door. It creaked loudly. The smell hit them instantly. Rotting flesh. Blood. Burned meat. Emily gagged. Then the light revealed the floor. Bones. Dozens of bones. Small bones. Animal bones. Dog collars scattered across the dirt. Emily's knees went weak. No, Max. Then the chewing stopped. Silence filled the barn. Slowly a figure stood up from the shadows. Tall, extremely thin. Skin pale like chalk. Eyes dark and sunken. His beard was messy. His clothes were torn and stained. And his mouth was covered in blood. The man stared at them without blinking. His head tilted slightly, like an animal studying prey. Emily whispered, Who are you? The man didn't answer. Instead, he smiled. A wide, disturbing smile. Then he spoke in a low, raspy voice. Hungry. Jacob felt fear crawl down his spine. The man stepped forward slowly. In his hand, a half-eaten dog leg, fresh, blood dripping onto the dirt floor. Emily screamed. Jacob grabbed her arm. Oh, run! They turned and sprinted toward the truck. Behind them, heavy footsteps slammed against the ground. Fast. Too fast. Jacob jumped into the driver's seat. Emily slammed the door. The man reached the truck just as Jacob started the engine. His face pressed against the window, eyes wide, teeth stained red. Then he licked the glass. Slowly, Jacob hit the gas. The truck sped away into the darkness. Police surrounded the farm the next morning. Officers entered carefully with flashlights and weapons. Inside the barn, they discovered something horrifying. Hundreds of animal remains. Dogs, cats, rats, even birds, all partially eaten. In the corner, they found a small mattress made of dirty blankets, and next to it, stacks of empty cans and bones. The man had been living there for years, alone, hidden, surviving on animals. The police searched the surrounding woods for hours, but the man was gone, vanished. No footprints, no trail, nothing. 3 nights later, Jacob was driving his usual route again. The road was empty, silent, cold. Then his headlights illuminated something on the side of the road, a figure standing near the trees, tall, thin, motionless. Jacob's heart stopped. It was him. The man slowly turned his head and smiled. In his hand, a dead rat. He lifted it to his mouth and took a bite. Crunch. Jacob sped past without stopping. But in the rearview mirror, he saw something that made his blood run cold. The man wasn't alone. Behind him, dozens of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. Dogs, stray dogs, standing silently beside him, watching, waiting. The police never caught the man. The farm was burned down. The case was closed. But residents of Blackridge still report strange sounds at night, chewing, growling, scratching. And sometimes they see a tall figure walking along the roadside, holding something small, something furry, something bleeding. And if you ever drive through a quiet rural town in the middle of the night and you smell something rotten in the air, don't stop, don't look. And whatever you do, don't follow the sound of chewing, because the man who eats rats and dogs might be closer than you think.